What's up everyone, Mariah Monetize here, and today I'm bringing you a very special video about saving money and getting from California to Portugal super cheap. So there's a few reasons why I am making this video today. First of all, I love sharing my tips and tricks. 2, this can save you a ton of money. 3, I am Portuguese and I love Portugal and I myself want to go back. And 4, I know a lot of Portuguese people that also really enjoy traveling to Portugal. So I am going to be showing you today how to get to Portugal extremely cheap. This is going to blow your mind. And today, the strategy that I'm using is hidden city ticketing. So this video is for you if you are someone that wants to travel very inexpensively. But what you need to keep in mind is that if you want to take the tip that I have for you today, you need to pack a little bit less. You can only take your backpack and a carry-on when you implement this trick. I'll be telling you why in just a moment. So, pack your bags lightly, board the flight, and let's get to how you're going to get to Portugal for a very good price. All right, so here we are on Google Flights. This is my favorite way to track and see what the best price for flights are. I typically book through Expedia to get the points, but I first find the exact flight that I want by going to Google Flights. There are a lot of Portuguese people in California, and so today we are going to be selecting SFO San Francisco Airport, but you might be able to find just as good deals from wherever you are. And it might be different locations, but I'm going to be showing you going from San Francisco to Portugal. So we're going to type in Europe. So starting location San Francisco, and we're going to search all flights in Europe. We're changing round trip to one way, so to implement this trick, you need to be booking one-way flights. You're going to click search. It doesn't matter which date that you select. So what you're going to do is on the date here, you're going to click the date, and you're going to select flexible dates over the next 6 months. Done. This is going to repopulate, and now you're going to see here, wow, I can go one way to London for $106, but if you look and see, the airline is TAP, which is a Portuguese airline. So you're going to go ahead and click that one and click on View Flights, and you can see here, you can get from San Francisco to London for $106 one way. That is insanity. But we don't want to go to London. We want to go to Portugal, right? That's why I made sure to click the option that is Tap Portugal. So this is a rough flight. I mean, it's going to take you nearly 2 days to get to London, but we're not trying to get to London. So we click the details of this flight, and we can see here, you can go from San Francisco. There's a 25-hour layover in Lisbon. So what are we going to do? We're going to go directly to Lisbon. We're going to get off the flight, but we're not getting back on the flight to go to London because we want to stay in Lisbon. But let me show you why this is so magical, okay? Let me open up another tab. And this right here is for December 7th. So obviously December is a time that people don't travel a lot. The weather might not be as good. Those are things I don't care about. I like to travel even if the weather's not expected to be good, because I feel like I always get lucky and get some pretty good weather actually. So December 7th, not a popular time, but there are actually really cheap flights that you could do this for in October as well. So I'm going to go over to Google Flights and prove to you why this is straight up magical. Let's just say that we wanted to go one way from San Francisco to Lisbon. We do the same thing. We go one way, and we pick the same date, okay? We are picking December 7th. So, look, 4:40 p.m. on December 7th, nonstop, San Francisco to Lisbon. $381, you guys. Okay. But if we go back here, it's 4:40 on December 7th. This is the same exact flight that has a final destination to London, but has a layover in Lisbon for $90. It was like at first it said 107. Now it's telling me $90. So this is a trick. You book that flight to London, but you get off in Lisbon and you just leave the airport and you don't take the second flight. The thing is, though, that you cannot check in luggage because your luggage is going to end up in London, but you're getting off in Lisbon. So the trick is bring your personal bag, get a nice, big, heavy-duty backpack that you can stuff a bunch of stuff inside, take your carry-on, make sure it is the right weight, because if it's too heavy, you're either going to have to check it in and you're going to lose your luggage forever, or you're going to have to throw things away and throw things out or stuff it into your personal bag. So be very diligent, okay, when it comes to doing this, because your luggage needs to weigh the right amount, because checking it in really is not an option. But here is where the true magic happens. Sure, Lisbon's great, Lisbon's wonderful, but a lot of people I know, they're trying to get to the Azores Islands, or they're trying to get to Madeira, which is a favorite of mine. I just went to Madeira recently. It was phenomenal, okay? So we see here that we depart on December 7th out of San Francisco. We get to Lisbon the next day, December 8th at 11 a.m. So let's check here. Lisbon to, let's say we're trying to go to Madeira. On the next day, because we're getting there the 8th, right? We need to leave. Our flight needs to be after 11:30 because we're arriving at 11:30 a.m. So we have some options here. We can leave at 7 o'clock, 6:55 p.m. for $44. We can go at 3:55 p.m. for $49. As you can see here, all the flights are under $100, and most of them are under $50 to get to Madeira. But what if I tried to go directly from San Francisco to Madeira on that same day? Let's check it out. So let's see. It was $90 to get to Lisbon, and let's say it was $50. I picked, the later one in the day. $50 to go from Lisbon to Madeira. That's $140, okay? But you're probably like, well, why don't you just click from San Francisco to Madeira one way on December 7th? And the reason why I don't do that is because it's going to cost me $460 versus about $140 to $150 if I book it the other way. That is a massive, massive savings of like over $300. I mean, this is like a gold mine. I mean, you are seriously saving some hard cash. So when it comes to looking at flights to get back to San Francisco from Madeira, I'm first going to check to see what the flights are from anywhere in Europe to San Francisco. So on the way back, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. I checked London and I checked Paris. From Paris to San Francisco seems to be the cheaper price. So first, I'm going to try to find that flight, the cheapest flight, because that's going to be the most expensive one, and where there's going to be less options from anywhere in Europe, but I'm figuring out that Paris is the cheapest, so I'm going to go from Paris to San Francisco. So I arrived on December 7th. Hey, let's say 10 days. I'm leaving on the 17th. I'm trying to make it back in time to spend Christmas with my family. So you can see here, I can go from Paris to San Francisco for $202. So I'm going to back up, and I need to find a flight from Madeira to Paris to catch that flight and make sure I make it in time. And you can see here that there's options for under $100 to get from Funchal to Paris. So I'm going to be paying under $300 for the way back. Well, what if I just typed in from Madeira to San Francisco? One way on December, let's say 17th. I'm looking at $541 one way. When if I just go from Madeira to Paris and from Paris to San Francisco, I'm paying under $300. So I am saving $250. But then you might still be asking, why are you doing all of these one ways? Why don't you just do San Francisco to Madeira round trip And that is because if I do the same dates and I leave December 7th and I return on the 17th, I am looking at $931 compared to paying under $500 for the way that I just taught you prior. Many of you are probably thinking, Madeira's great, but I'm trying to get to the Azores because that's where my parents are from. My parents are from Terceira. So let's see. What if I try to go one way to Terceira? It's going to be expensive, right? The cheapest that I'm looking at one way here is I could find November 19th within this time frame, $765. What if I went, again, San Francisco to Europe, right? So I could still have that layover in Lisbon. I can get from San Francisco to Lisbon for under $100. So let's look at flights from Lisbon to Terceira instead of Lisbon to Madeira. And just like that, you can get from Lisbon to Terceira for $42. So you are paying $90 to get from San Francisco to Lisbon, and you are paying $42 to get from Lisbon to Terceira. So now you're probably like, I'm confused. Why is it cheaper to go from San Francisco to Paris, which is much further than San Francisco to Lisbon? Well, it's called hidden city ticketing. So what is hidden city ticketing? The method originally proposed by the young founder of the website Skiplagged involves finding cheaper flights by getting off at an airline's stopping point while en route to the actual destination. For instance, a flight from New York City to Los Angeles costs $200 and may stop midway in Chicago, whereas tickets from New York City to Chicago run $400. Hidden city ticketing in this case would mean booking the flight from New York City to Los Angeles and just disembarking during a stop in Chicago, saving you $200. While finding cheap tickets may be appealing to you, there are several drawbacks for both airlines and travelers that you may want to keep in mind. Airlines could put a note on your account saying that you're exactly what you're doing, but I haven't heard of a ton of consequences, and it's your choice. You can look into it if you're more concerned about it, but for me, I have no concern at all. I'm all about breaking the rules. So you can also use Skyscanner to find these deals, but I personally seem like I have found better deals by just going directly to Google Flights, and I feel like I have more flexibility when finding the cheapest ones. So the reason why this differential happens when it comes to the price of the tickets is because there's a lot of factors that come into play when it comes to the price of flights, like cost of fuel, competition in the route, the popularity of business travel, and other factors also play a role. People claim that the airline can potentially sue you for doing this, but to be honest with you, I just got hungover and missed my flight. I mean, for example, in Lisbon, I've seen an option where the layover is 24 hours. You're definitely leaving the airport, and you're definitely going to have a great time in Lisbon. There is a big possibility you might lose your flight. So technically, that's one thing to consider, but nothing I'm really concerned of. I'm willing to take the risk. I'm always willing to take the risk. So like I said, Skyscanner is a website that you can also use to find hidden city ticketing. So I'm going to go ahead and see what are the options they give me when it comes to San Francisco to Funchal, Madeira. Like I said, I like to play a lot around with dates, and that's why I find it the most beneficial to first use Google Flights before I use any other websites. But let's go ahead and see here the options that Skyscanner gives us. So you can see here, they give us a very similar flights to the ones that I originally said. But you can see here the price is $677, and with the option that I gave you, it was closer to around $500. So you're still saving more. I feel like I find better flights. One thing to also keep in mind and be very aware of is that sometimes in London or in other airports, you might actually be going to a different airport. So you need to check and see if you're actually changing airports. So that's something also to keep in mind. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, share it with a friend and hit that like button, subscribe, and push the bell for notifications. So that's all I have for you today. As always, go out there and create a portfolio that you love.